Hi everybody. In the previous video, we created a submit post functionality and displayed a snippet of the posts on the homepage. In today's video, we're going to create a dynamic detail page that will serve as a template for each post, with the option for the author to make the post private or public, or to delete it. We will create a basic profile page where the user can see and access his or her posts. And we will also update our VPS and make some changes to its settings and permissions. We have added all our code and will check it in detail. In our snippet, we have added our link. As you can see, we use a new method to make a link with the ahref tag. Similar with the action tag in a submit form, we use the name of the URL. But we also include the slug field of the post, which will be passed through the URL to the task. As this one snippet can be used for an endless number of posts, somehow we need to tell the task which particular post the user is clicking to see in detail. We do this by passing a piece of unique information about the post. We made the slug field unique, so we are passing that. Important note: there is no need to use the slug, there are other options. Example: as each post gets a unique number in the database by the system, we could have used post.id instead of post.slug, with all the same end results. But a slug makes the URL more readable, compared to just an ID number. Now let's check our URLs file. It's the first time we are passing information through the URL. The way it's done is always the same: open and close angle brackets. And within the brackets, we pass the name using a colon. Remember, before the brackets we have the domain name, and as we can see in below examples, which we will check in a moment, we can add additional characters between the domain name and past information. For the detail page, we keep it simple: the user will see the domain name and the slug. And whenever the user clicks the snippet and visits the URL, the detail page task will be executed. We gave it a name and now saw 3 ways to use it: in the action tag of a form, in the redirect of tasks, and in ahref tags. Let's check the task. No extra tools were imported. We moved our homepage and post page tasks down to have easy access to our new ones. The name of our new task, detail page, free to choose. Now something new. Besides the request, we also pass the slug. Let's repeat the passing. We added the slug in the link of the snippet. We passed it through the URL between brackets. And then passed it to our task, together with the request, aka visit of the URL. In our task, we first add a context box. And we request the user and store it in a variable myself. Next, we use the getObject or for function to retrieve the post from the database using its slug and a reference to the post model. Compared to the filter function, the get function does not return a list but instead a specific result. In case the author deleted the post just on the moment another user visits it, the function will return a 404 error, which we will handle later in the tutorial. In case the post was found, we can use the variable as if it's the post and start doing checks on it. So first, we check if the post is public. In case it is, we store the post in a context box. We also store the variable myself in a context box. And return a render of the detail HTML page with the context boxes included. In case the post is not public, the else statement will be executed, which implies the post is private. A private post should only be visible to the followers of the author or the author itself. To accomplish this, we use the following statement. We retrieve a list of all the followers of the author, which is possible on many-to-many fields of an object, and check if myself, the user trying to visit the page, is in that list. And we check if myself is actually the author of the post. If one of both checks is true, we can let the user pass and see the page by again returning the post and myself to a render of the detail page. Now, in case the post is not public and the user is not a follower of the author or the author itself, the else statement will be executed, which is redirecting that user to the homepage with a message. No exceptions. The foundation of our detail task is ready and secured if the post is marked as private. Let's click the snippet and have a look at the detail page of the public post as a non-signed-in user. And we are successfully directed to the detail page of the post. In the address bar, we see the slug of the post. For the non-signed-in user, we have the same menu at the top. A link to the home page, one to the post page and one to the sign-in page. This post has only one picture. We will add another one and a video in the admin console in a moment to see how that looks. We see the title and the body of the message. The author's name will be linked to the profile page of the author later in the tutorial. Same for the category, it will be linked to a category section later on. Next, the creation date and website link. Then we have the comment button and form to submit comments, only usable for signed-in users. Next is the total likes received. Visible to all users, but only signed-in ones will have a button to like the post. The pin button is hidden for non-signed-in users. We will also implement a sort function for the comments. Note that this is a first basic foundation, we will change it and build on top of it, piece by piece. Let's have a look at the HTML of the page, starting by the base template. On top, the usual links. It's coded in such a way that only the menu will be shown that meets certain conditions. For non-signed-in users, it will only show the buttons to the home, post and sign-in page. The rest is hidden behind the else statement. At the bottom, we included the content block. Now on to the detail page itself, including our base template. Loading static. Next, the humanize tag to style dates and time. Loading the embed video tag to stream YouTube videos. And opening the block content. The messages output, we already know. We start with the section for the pictures and video. Because picture 1 is required, we know that the field contains a file, so we can simply output it in the source of the img tag. For the second picture, we know that a Boolean field can be checked on being true by using an if statement on the field without an operator. In the same way, we can check if a field is not none or blank. If not none or blank, we know it's a valid picture and we can output it in the source of the img tag. We do the same for the video field. If not none or blank, we will show it using the embed video tag and size specifications. In case there is a second picture, we want a button to appear to show or hide the picture. So we again do the check and include the button if true. We do the same for the video. In case there is a video, we insert a show and hide button. We will use a JavaScript on both buttons. Next is our title and body section of the post. As the title is not required, we do a check if the field is not none or blank. If true, we insert the title. The body is required, so we insert it without check. The line break Django tag makes sure that line breaks in the post are also visible in the output. The author is always known, so we insert the field without a check. Next is the category and creation date of the post. Both are known, so no checks are needed. And see here how we use humanize for the format of the date. We have the day, month, and year. If we would replace the capital M with a lowercase, the months would be in numbers. Changing the Y to a capital would display the year in full. And so on. As the website link is not a required field, we first check if the field is not none or blank. If true, we insert the link. The next section is for our comment, like and pin button, which we give functionality later on. The comment button has some JavaScript involved to show or hide a comment form. The like button will only be available for signed-in users that are not the author of the post. So we check both statements. As we are viewing the post as a non-signed-in user, the else statement will be executed, which is showing the number of likes and a change of color if any. The pin button is only visible for signed-in users that are not the author of the post, so we do the check without an else statement. Here is the comment form that will be shown or hidden by clicking the comment button. Only signed-in users will get a working submit button. Next to this, we will also do the check in our comment task. The last section will be for sorting the comments. This will be done by submitting forms to our backend sort tasks. A quick look to the JavaScripts. The first one for the messages we already know. The next three ones are for the picture, button and comment form and can be read as follows. If a user clicks the HTML tag with this ID, then show or hide, depending on the state it's in, the tag with this other ID. For good order's sake, the toggle function is a tool that is written in JavaScript by smart people and is included in the jQuery library, hence we added the link to jQuery in our base template. Last line of the page, as always closing the content block. We overlooked to add the country and city. We'll do that in a moment. Now we are going to sign in with the admin user, which is not the author of the post, and see the changes. As admin user, we can change the post, so we're going to add a second picture and video to see the functionality in action. To see if a post is public or private in the admin console, without having to enter them, we have added the public Boolean field to the customized class of the model. We entered the public one and added a YouTube link. We are also uploading a second picture with the same name of the first one. On the right, you see how Django added a random string of characters to the name. Let's refresh the detail page and see some changes. On top, we have the links to the home page, post page and the basic profile page, which we will check when signing in as author. We added the country and city fields. These will be linked to sort tasks later in the tutorial. We see our button to show and hide the second picture. And a button to show or hide the video.
Alright guys, welcome to my beginner's programming tutorial. We're going to create a simple program. Alright, first we're going to type in public class program, then public static void main string args, you know how it goes. Then import in this old ass outdated library from like 1994. Oh yeah, by the way, we're using Java 7, not Java 8, so sorry if you have to start over. Alright, and then I'm going to copy and paste this giant chunk of code. What this does is it makes your computer do stuff. Put that in your program and then compile and execute it, and there we go, we've created Minecraft.
As we are signed in but not being the author of the post, we have now a like and pin button. Let's check the code, starting at the base template. Remember we are currently in the else statement, which implies we are signed in. We check if the user is not the author. If true, we insert the desired links to the home page, post page and user's profile page, which we will check when signed in as author later. In the detail page we added the country and city. For the country we check if the field not equals the standard header of the country list. If true, we insert the field. For the city, we check if the field is not none or blank. If true, we insert the field. We will now sign in as author of the post and see the changes. Entering credentials, hit enter, which brings us to the home page. Clicking the snippet to enter the detail page. On top, we see the familiar links to the home page, post page and profile page. But as author, we have now a button to make the post private or public, and a button to delete the post. As expected, as the author we have no like button, instead we will only see the total likes. We also have no pin button. Let's check the code, starting at the base template. As we are signed in as author but did not request a delete of the post, the following section will be executed, showing the links to the home page, post page and profile page. Next, we have a submit form to the task to make the post private. In the action tag, we have the name of the URL and we are passing the slug of the post. Depending if the post is public or private, we will show the submit button with another color and icon. Let's test our button. And we get a message that the post is now private. If we go to the home page, we see that it's indeed not visible anymore. If we click the button once more, we get a message that the post is public. If we refresh the home page, we see that it's indeed visible again. Let's check the URL for this task. To make it unique, we've put some characters before we pass the slug. When the user requests the URL, the task will be executed. We gave the URL also a name for the form. Now on to the task. The login required wrap is the same as checking if the user is authenticated with a redirect if not true. The name of the task is freely chosen. And we pass the slug together with the request. We store the user in a variable myself. And retrieve the post with a getObject or 404error function. To avoid other users trying to make the post private by using the URL, we check if the requester is the author. If not, the else statement will be executed, which is adding a Django message to the redirect to the detail page. As we have to pass the slug, we use a new way to redirect. Note, the redirect is on the first indentation, so it will be executed for all scenarios in the task. If the user is the author, the task will check if the post is public. If so, it will set the boolean to false, thus making the post private. We save the post with the save function. Add a message and do the redirect, which also refreshes the page and button. If the post is private, the boolean is set to true, making the post public again, and the process is repeated. Now let's check the delete function. When clicking the button, the familiar links disappear and we get a delete confirm or disregard button. Let's see the code for this on our base template. When we didn't request the delete yet, we are still in the same section that shows the delete button with a form to a delete confirmation task while passing the slug. In the URLs file, we again added unique characters in the URL before passing the slug, and when requested, the task will be executed. The task is wrapped with the login required function. The name of the task is freely chosen. And we pass the slug together with the request. We store the user in a variable myself. And retrieve the post with a getObject or 404error function. In case the request is done by a user that is not the author, we will redirect that user to their profile page. If the user is the author, we check if the delete confirmation boolean is false. If so, the task will set the boolean to true and save the post. If not, it will set the boolean field to false again and save the post. As the redirect is at the same indentation, it will be executed for both scenarios while passing the slug. When the user requested a delete, by using the boolean field in the base template, we can show a completely different menu. When the user is the author and the confirmation delete boolean is true, only this section will be shown, which are the confirm and disregard buttons as we see now. When the user clicks the red button, the form will go to the final delete task, which will delete the post in full. If the user clicks the green button, the form will go back to the confirmation task, which will set the boolean to false again, which in turn will show all familiar links again. Just like that. And again requesting the delete, which shows the confirmation and disregard buttons again. Now let's check this final delete task and its URL. Putting unique characters in the URL in front of the slug passing. Whenever the user requests the URL, the task will be executed. The final delete task is wrapped in the login required function. We chose a name, pass the slug together with the request. Store the user in a variable and retrieve the post. We verify if the user is the author and if the confirmation boolean is true. If so, we know the author really wants to delete the post. We do that by using the delete function. When done, we add a message and redirect to the profile page. If the requester is not the author or the confirmation boolean is not true, we redirect to the profile page with a message included but without deleting the post. Let's test this task and delete the post. Post deleted. And we are redirected to the profile page. When we refresh the home page, as expected, the post is not there anymore. Let's have a look to the profile page. It's still very basic and doesn't contain much functionalities yet. There is the sign out function, a link to the post page and home page, and on the home page the link to the profile page. And a list of the user's posts. As we just deleted the public post, we only see the private one. Checking the code used starting with the URL. We moved it to the Accounts app as it makes more sense to us. We already know this. We have the URL, the task, and the URL name. On to the task. It's wrapped with the login required function. The name freely chosen. We define a context box, request the user, and store it in a variable. This deactivated snippet of code equals the login required function. So using the function saves us repetitive work when a user needs to be signed in to use a task. We retrieve all posts of the user, both public and private, by using the filter and author field, sort them on creation date and store them in a variable. We store the posts and user in the context box. And return a render of the profile page with the context box included. On to the HTML pages, starting with the base template. We already know this. We added all the usual HTML links and the menu links. The pin and followers functions are still to be created but wanted to give you already an idea which direction we're going. The main profile page will have several sections, so we are working with includes to keep things organized. On top, loading the usual tools. This include will contain all users' details. We already added the username, we'll check this in a next video. Next are messages, we already know this. And here we include the page that will show the posts of the user. Some empty diffs as preparation. And on the bottom, the script to let the messages disappear. On to the included page. This looks familiar as on the home page with an include to the snippet. Basically, on the profile page we use an include in an include. You can level down as much as you want to structurize. We iterate over the list of posts. Store each result in a variable and pass it in the include. And on to the snippet. It's a duplicate of the snippet used in the home page, with the difference that we added a check to see if a post is not public. If true, we add a green icon which you can see on the left on the profile page. Before we update the VPS, we will do some final testing. We will sign in as admin user and try to view, make public and delete the post by using the URLs of the tasks. All should result in redirects, with a message, as the admin user is not the author. We're not testing as non-signed-in user, as they will never pass as author in the detail task, nor will they pass the login required function in the others. We did a small code amendment in the make private or public and delete tasks. Let's see this first. We move the redirect to the detail page within this statement so that only the author gets this redirect. All others trying will go to the home page with the else statement or the login required function. And here we change the if statement to author equals myself and gave it the same structure as the one above. Lastly, here we changed the message and redirect in the else statement to match the ones above. Note, the previous code was perfectly valid but now it's more standardized. Let's open the URLs file, sign in as admin user, and test. We copied the URL of the private post and pasted in the address bar. And hit enter. It works. Redirected with a message. Now we try to make it public by adding the characters as defined in the URLs file. It works. Redirected with a message. Next, we try to get a delete confirmation. It works. Redirected with a message. Lastly, we try to delete the post. Also works. Redirected with a message. For good order's sake. If we would go to the admin console, as super user we can view, change or delete any post. We are now going to update the VPS with the changes of the previous and today's video. We open the MOBA X terminal and navigate to our project directory. In the meantime, a disclaimer. As we know so little about servers, we might be making a mistake in the permission we are about to change. If anybody sees a mistake, appreciate if you could inform us. Next, we cd into our project directory in the command prompt. And we activate the virtual environment. Next, we're pip installing Django embed video. And pip install Django cleanup. Now we can upload our files and folders. We start with the URLs and views file from our Accounts app as we did some changes in them. Then we upload our blog app in full. And adding the static and templates folders. When this is done, we have to do some changes in the settings.py file. We need to add the blog app, Humanize, Django embed video, and Django cleanup to our installed apps. Saving the changes. In the URLs file, we need to add the link to our blog app URLs. Saving the changes. Next, we're going to do something of which we are not sure if it's needed. In the migration folder in the blog app, we will delete all files except for the init.py files. We are also deleting the files in the Python caches. All these deletes seem to make the blog app a fresh install instead of an upload. Done. Now we can do the migrations. Starting with Make Migrations. And then Migrate. Looks okay. We deactivate the virtual environment. And restart G-Unicorn as we did changes in Django. Now it becomes tricky. If we understood it correctly, then only the root user has permission to upload content to the media folder of our project. All other users have to be granted permission. These users are represented by www.data in Ubuntu. So we change the ownership of the media folder to www.data. And we then give read and write permission to the folder. If you don't do this, you will get an upload error. During our first VPS video, we overlooked to add the location of our media root, so we need to open the nginx file again and add it. Save with Ctrl+X, yes, and enter. And some final nginx commands. First one to see a status. All good. Restarting nginx. Not sure if this last command is really needed, it's a refresh. Done. Let's check if we still see the homepage. Fingers crossed. And we don't. Somewhere we made a mistake. As we have the debug set to false, we don't see the problem. We're going to set debug as true off-screen in the settings ini file. And restarting G-Unicorn as we made a change in Django. Restarting the browser. Name error. We might have an idea. Here it is. Activating the post model import. Re-uploading the views file. And restarting G-Unicorn as we made a change in Django. Restarting the browser. And it works. We're back online. Let's sign in and check the profile page, post, make private or public and delete tasks. Profile page works. As we didn't add categories yet, we can't submit posts. Fast forward to the admin console, adding a category and a country. Refreshing the post page. And we see the category. And the country. Adding a message. And a picture. It works. We see the post on our profile page. Checking the detail page, looks good. On the home page, we also see our post. Back to the detail page and making it private. Works. The post is hidden on the home page, but not on our profile page. Lastly, deleting the post. Confirming the delete. And the post is deleted. And signing out. Important notes. In the next VPS update video, we will increase the upload size tolerance of the server as it's actually below the maximum of 3 MB we set in our task. Our green picture only passed because it's a very small one. Also, the read and write permissions we gave to the media folder might be a security risk. 777 is the highest permission, but lowering it gave us errors. We'll try to learn more about it and come back on it. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video.